spirit of integral and practical mysticism emerged. So I have chosen two personages, namely Vedatri Maharishi, whom I did master studies, and then I wanted to pursue PhD, but now I am ending with IAYT. Then one of the saints of the sages, 11th century, Hildegard of Bingen. Hildegard of Bingen, German, from Germany. So there were two figures. She belongs to 11th century and Maharishi belongs to maybe 20th century, from South India. So the first one, Hildegard, was a saint, healer. She was an abbess of a leader of a monastery, Benedictine monk, medieval period, 11th century, healer, composer, and a person with herbal wisdom, sitting inside the cloistered walls of the nunnery or the convent. She was able to have a vision of the herbs somewhere outside in the hills, and she directs the sickly human people, and then they go and have the Siddha medicine, and then the herbs, and they get cured. She is a visionary. So both are different cultures, religion. One is from Christian monasticism, another one is Maharishi is from Siddha yogic tradition. Both develop a holistic vision of mysticism. So now, connected to yoga, how do we connect both of them? Maharishi, maybe I'm becoming to explain how he develops to simplified Kundalini yoga, Kaya Kalpa, and so on, meditation, introspection, and all that. So today they have mysticism, means holistic view of seeing things, also not simply a recluse and sitting in one place and meditating, but rather, very good. Yeah, so the comparative study deals with both of them. So both, how do they consider body as sacred laboratory of divine experience, Hildegard? But for Maharishi, it is the temple. It is almost a temple. That's why in his way of dealing with yoga and humanity, he avoided temple worship, because the whole body is a temple. So you have to purify and search God inside, not necessarily the celebration outside. So the one is both are how they are united. So I am connecting with the science and spirit. So spirit, I have given the title acosmic. Cosmic, acosmic. Acosmic means beyond the cosmic reality, spirit. Then esoteric science means something very high, only selected creamy layer people can follow the science. But how they are united here? So Hildegard saint was known for humoral medicine and ecology of a particular time. Here we have 4 humus in our body, or 3 humus, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, fire, water and air, and so on. Humus, H-U-M-O-R, humus. So in Vedatri Maharishi, there is a metaphysics beyond physics, something we understand, biomagnetism and nervous system science in Vedatri. Both they are going hand in hand. So one is emphasizing householder, everyday life is a true field of spiritual realization and transformation. Don't run away from the world. So Maharishi also says, don't run away from the world to some other forest in search of God, things like that. Be in your family and find God. So they offer a cross-cultural integral mysticism. Not only rubric centered like temple worship or church worship, but rather practical worship, practical mysticism, integrating both theory and practice, science and ordinary spiritual life. So a synthesis of body, mind and spirit. So microcosm, macrocosm. So they can also find finally a beauty. Next slide, sister. So the cosmic vitality they share, both of them share a single life force, that will be permeating all reality. For Hildegard, it is the greening power, veritatis, viriditas. Okay, it is a sap-like thing, a plant sap-like thing, or greenness that flows from God into all creation. Plants, bodies, souls, moist, lush, or fruitful, all that considers the greenness power. And then opposite to that is aridity or aridities. That means dryness. Spiritual, physical, wilting means drying, withering, sin, imbalance, disease, and all that. So what would be health means a flow of power in body, soul, and environment. Both of them stress this point. So Maharishi would talk about universal magnetism, biomagnetism, in absolute space, how the formative dust, the cosmology, how the world is created, the energy particles, and then the spinning produces magnetic field, gravity in the macrocosm, and in the body it is microcosm or biomagnetism. Even about the cosmology, like Herbert Spencer, he would talk about concomitant motion, both centrifugal and centripetal, coming togetherness at a particular point, and also the dispersing. That's how the world is created. In cosmology we study. So like Maharishi also almost follows the same line. The frequency, the imprints that are stored in the brain, blood, and genetic center, all that comes from this movements only. So if there is a unimpeded or unstopped flow, there is a better circulation, better health. So they see life as a flow and illness as stagnation and blockage. For humoral disharmony, then melancholy and spiritual dryness. Humoral, the three humus, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but she has not mentioned as Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but some other terms, humus. And if in Veda 3, then if there is a depletion, no strength, or obstruction of that energy or magnetism, then pain, disease, mental disturbance, and karmic confusion comes in. So they consider as body as a garden or temple. And another one, Maharishi, how does he so? So for Hildegard, there are 4 elements in life: earth, fire, air, and water. So the 4 humus, maybe blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Formerly, they used to divide the personality into Fleming, choleric, melancholic, and sanguine. Sanguine is almost like a sattvic. The other 3 are little imbalance only. So melancholy, very sad, and choleric also a little bit not happy one. Melancholic, choleric, sanguine, and Fleming. Fleming is like a kapha on water, sedentary, and then not moving out. These are all connected. So those days we believed in all these 4 humus. She also remembers the earth, air, fire, and water. So, but Veda 3, he says how the evolution of the absolute space, formative dust, 5 elements, living bodies, how there is a universal law in miniature in human body. That next slide, metaphors of the body. So for Hildegard, kindly change the slide. There's a metaphor means urvagam, comparison. Kindly change the slides. Ma'am, kindly change the slides. Yes. Yeah. What? Yeah, but running. What the metaphors is, the urvagam, the comparison is sacred garden. Our body is a sacred garden. We need weeding, watering, pruning, diet, herbs, music, and moderation. So that moisture that keeps this garden from drying out, from witting, or from withering. For Veda 3, it is a fortified temple, sacred laboratory that needs strengthening, cleaning, regulating blood, heat, air, and magnetism. So the body should be finely tuned. For both of them, body is not an obstacle, but is an indispensable site of divine revelation. So in Tamil, there is a quote about Udambar Aliyil Uyirar Aliyar. When the body dies, the life also dies. So like that, there is a poem like that. So then next slide. What's the methodology they follow, both of them, in their finding of balance of all this? Next. Okay, correct. So humus, music, herbs, then discretion. In the holistic medical theology, she was known for a musician, an artist, also a visionary. So she was following a moderation, a golden mean to balance all these humus of the body. Avoid the extreme of fasting, indulgence, work and inactivity. In everything, balance. So herbal medicine and diet, plants. How do they possess? The plants possess elemental signatures: hot, cold, wet and dry. So she used a lot of symbols in healing humanity. For example, tree, fish, river, all these symbols she used in the suffering humanity for healing. So there are foods like fennel, they are joy giving, maintaining moisture and harmony. So fresh herbs helps us stopping weathering of our balanced mind. So even music also she is taken up when she has the vision. Today she will draw the picture of the vision in drawing, beautiful drawing. Next day she will compose a music. So that music will help the body for a vibrational medicine, like so sound frequencies. It will remove aridities, dryness, restoring inner harmony and joy. So the soul moves to the heavenly harmony. It will lead because of the secretion of the positive fluid inside. Okay, next slide. Yeah, next slide, ma'am. Next slide. Yes. So in Vedatri Maharishi, we see simplified Kundalini Yoga, Kaya Kalpa, breath and thought analysis. Perhaps Agattaivu, introspection comes first. Analysis of thought. Now then Kaya Kalpa also sort of, I find it is a physical sublimation. Most of them talk about psychological sublimation of sexual energy, but physically how the ojas is created by Aswini Mutra, then little bit of Kesari Mutra, and breath control and releasing the air through the teeth and so on, like Ujjayi Pranayama. All these are connected, and then our SKF, sexual vital fluid, SVF, it becomes an energy going from below to the top and spread through the whole body, and it is a vibrating force making us better also. So instead of wasting, and then it can also be saved to produce more energy. The simplified Kundalini Yoga includes all everybody, householders. So from the Anya Chakra, between the eyebrows, stabilizing the voltage of the spiritual power. So like regulating food, heat and air, the yoga can be of best method for better attaining better balance also. So there's a technology of balance, both of them suggest. One pre-modern humoral language, humus, Vada Pitaka, what that language she she gave, and Vedatri Maharishi gave modern, energetic and neurophysiological language. Both of them given a different way. Then how, next slide, siddhis and riddhis we have. Next slide, ma'am. Next slide. Ma'am, next slide.
Yes, sir, yes.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So, practical mysticism. Next slide. Yes, next slide. Practical mysticism.
Next slide.
Yes, next slide. Okay, next one.
One more, sir.
Yeah, one more. Yes.
Mani, sir.
So, This is over. This is the one. Okay. In spirituality, we have both gifts, siddhis and riddhis. So siddhis means greater gifts. Riddhis may be smaller gifts. So they visions, ecstasies. They are not supposed to make us escape from the world or reality. So mystical experience must translate all this experience into healing, giving ethics to humanity, creativity and responsibility also. We have this Attama Shithis, Anima, Mahima, Lagima, Garima, Prabdi, Parakaya and Ishwa, Vasita. So this is yogic mastery. We get all these siddhis. They can be also a bioenergetic basis. When it is refined, it helps for a good nervous system and magnetic field. So there's a danger also if you are stuck with this siddhis and riddhis, because it is inflate and it will inflate and superimpose the ego, distract from real liberation. So the extraordinary gifts, next slide, of the saint here, she says you have these extraordinary gifts of vision and things like that, but prioritize humility and service, not self-display and honor and recognition. Next slide. Next slide, ma'am. Next to two slides. Next, another slide.
One more, sir. Mani, sir.
One more. Yeah. Both of them, they develop a household spirituality. Next. Yeah, very good. Or domestic sanctity. So sanctity somewhere not to be searched in the temples or fugo mundi, run away from the world to the forest somewhere. No, sanctification of the ordinary life. Both of them meet together here. So, see, individual peace is the root cause for the universal peace. So, the art of mind control is given in Manavalakalai Mandrangal. That means small units. So, the family is also another unit. So, the household relationships and spiritual realization comes here, not elsewhere. For next slide, ma'am, next slide. For Hildegard the saint, here also she, yes, very good. She respected, very good, deep theological respect for marriage, sexuality and childbirth. So maybe the gestation period, feeding and so on in the womb, and mother's body as a microcosm of the earth. So work and live, earn and live. And these are all famous aphorisms that she used in those days also. So monastery and cave, marketplace and home, both are mingling together. So practical mysticism will include family and civic responsibility. Next slide. So even thus they bring in not only greenness in oneness, but also in the world around us, global garden, social dimension, ecology in those days. So plants, animals and stones, they are sympathetic pharmacy. They are not commodity or not, they are not inanimate things, but they are sympathetic pharmacy, healing us. So nature also is so tailored to reach out to us, to heal us. They reach out to us. Even if we don't go, they come to us. So ecological mysticism, so that is already brought out in 11th century in bringing man and world relationship. Next, in Veda 3, next slide, ma'am. In Veda 3 Maharishi, there is a social magnetism. So the universal wave. So maybe unregulated anger, greed and fear. So aruvagai guna siramaipu, maybe sinam, perasai, like that, craving, aversion and all that comes in 6 gunas. But when we modulate and then better introspect and do things to introspection and yoga, ethical living would come, and the world becomes a better place to live in. So global transformation can be cultivated in the domestic harmony. Ma'am, next slide. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. So spirit and science. Spirit and science, how they are coming together. Both are different topics, science and spirit. But in two traditions are better here now. For Vedatri Maharishi, it's a manual, technical, analytical, energy particles, magnetism, nervous system. So depending on this, he has have a yogic protocols, composed different yogic protocols from simple exercises to higher asanas. And for Hildegard, it is the map, botanical, imagistic, cosmic egg, universal man, garden metaphors, all symbolic visions. So poetic cartography. So some sort of poetical living on earth, poetic dwelling on earth. Okay, next slide, ma'am. So both of them come to us integral mysticism. Integral mysticism, both of them offered in comprising spiritual element, also family, society, government, duties, and all this. Thus, an internal equilibrium, homeostasis, balance, all this should develop. So by balancing the humus and the elements of the body, 5 elements and 3 humus, if they balance, better. So but in Maharishi, better biomagnetism, balance also. Next slide. So it is called householder mysticism, not simply elsewhere searching in the temple and worship and celebration and all that. It is a domestic. It will be a paving way for better ecology, better garden and temples of our own self. So overall conclusion is missed. Next slide. Next slide. Almost ending. Ma'am, next slide. Conclusions. So mystical insight is universal. So both different cultures, religion, but they converge here. Sacredness of the body, the unity of creation, need for disciplined practice and ethical transformation. Spirit and science, they come and synchronize here. They are not opposing each other. Humoral medicine and transformation, Hildegard's humoral medicine. So it is a necessary time now. It is an urgently contemporary need of both combining science and spirituality, psychological fragmentation we face here, and also environmental crisis also we face here. A holistic person, a holistic world, a path where health, harmony, creativity, everything is becoming better for us, that we can also build up cosmic unity. So that's how I am bringing into this concept of integral mysticism, including science and spirit, or cosmic spirit and esoteric science, and world and God, man and world, and also spirituality and ordinary everydayness of life. All this I combine in one concept, integral mysticism. Thank you one and all for listening.